This past week, did you catch the story in the news about the man from South Africa who was eaten by a whale? How many of you saw that in the news? Yeah, most of you. Well, not eaten, but I did get your attention, didn't I? The man was snorkeling with a bride's whale, trying to get a photo of the whale eating little small fish, when all of a sudden the whole world went dark and he realized he was inside the whale. Unlike Finding Nemo, where they exit via the blowhole, the whale promptly realized its mistake and released the man back into the sea. Unfortunately, his name wasn't Jonah, because that would be just too perfect. His name was Rainier, but his son is named Jonah. Go figure. Now, that's not the learning moment, but it's the intro to it. Just a few months ago, you may recall, I wanted to direct your attention to the beautiful stained glass windows that, unless you're up in the balcony, you don't really get that up-close view. On this side is the New Testament. This side is the Old Testament, including the story of Jonah and the whale. It's an amazing story about God's grace, about the prophet who was running away from God's call to go to Nineveh, a very sinful, wicked city. And he didn't want to go there, so he jumped into a boat and was heading up to, where was he heading up to? Tarshish. Tarshish, thank you, not Tarnish, Tarshish. Maybe it was tarnished, I don't know. And a big storm happened, as you will recall, in the Old Testament. And the ship and the shipmates, they were afraid that they were going to die, and so they figured there was someone who had brought this big storm, and they figured it was Jonah. And he confessed that he was running away from God and wasn't going to Nineveh. He was going in the opposite direction. But he ultimately, after that experience of 3 days in the whale's belly, it's amazing, that he finally followed through. Well, I just want you to know these windows are so lovely. And if you do go upstairs, up to the balcony, to get a closer look, please be careful, because there are a lot of steps, and I wouldn't want you to fall. But we have wonderful stories right here, from the beginning of creation up to the judgment seat, from the birth of Jesus to his resurrection. I'm hoping someday we will have a little booklet that describes all this so you can have a copy of it. And I think it would be great sometime when we don't use the storybook to have the children really look carefully at these wonderful stories. Tim Keller has a book out that I would recommend. It's called The Prodigal Prophet. It's a wonderful book. I just started reading it this week. Jonah and the Mystery of God's Mercy. Go online and pick up. Tim Keller's got such great books. This is just one of his most recent ones. I recommend it highly. That ends our time of learning.